Welcome, dear listener, and thank you for being here in this quiet space. This story has been crafted with a gentle heart, hoping to offer you a peaceful sanctuary where you can unwind, find a measure of soft contentment, and be guided toward a truly restful sleep. If this tale brings you comfort, a simple act of liking the story, subscribing to the channel, or leaving a kind comment is a warmth that is deeply appreciated. Tonight, we will be visiting the Valley of Indigo Echoes, a place where the world holds its breath as twilight settles. Join us and prepare to be enchanted by the chorus of the Deepening Blue, a beautiful song hummed by ancient flowers. It is a world of profound stillness and gentle wonder, a calming respite created just for you. Chapter 1, The Valley of Indigo Echoes. The path that led to the valley was a simple one, a soft track of dark earth that wound its way between gently sloping hills. For Lorien, each step felt like a movement toward stillness, a gradual shedding of the wider world. He carried with him the simple tools of his trade, the mapping of quiet places, yet he knew this destination would be something to be felt, a location understood by the heart. The air itself began to change, growing cooler and carrying a clean, sweet scent like damp soil and a flower he had never known, a fragrance that promised peace. He crested a final low hill and the valley opened up before him. It was a perfect bowl of soft green, cradled by the rounded hills as if held in a gentle hand, a thick carpet of what looked like the plushest moss covered everything, swallowing sound and lending the landscape a deep, peaceful hush. In the center of the valley sat a small lodge, its walls made of a dark, warm-looking wood, and its roof a living thatch of the same soft moss. It looked as if it had grown there, a natural and welcome part of the scenery. A profound sense of arrival settled over Lorien, a feeling of coming home to a place he had never been. His footsteps made only the softest of thuds on the springy ground as he descended. The silence here was remarkable, a living presence. It was a quiet filled with the low hum of contentment, the gentle breathing of a place utterly at ease with itself. He reached the lodge and pushed open the simple, heavy door. It swung inward on well-oiled wooden hinges, making no sound at all. The air inside was warm and welcoming, holding the comforting aromas of dried lavender, beeswax, and old clean wood. A simple room greeted him. A sturdy bed with a thick blue quilt was in one corner. A small table and two chairs stood near a hearth where embers glowed with a soft orange light. Sunlight, soft and diffused, filtered through a clean window pane, illuminating the dust motes dancing in a slow, peaceful ballet. It was a room that asked for nothing, a space designed purely for rest and gentle being. Lorien set his pack down, the soft sound absorbed by the quiet, and felt the last knot of travel weariness in his shoulders begin to dissolve. He walked to the window and looked out across the valley. From this vantage point, he could see that the verdant carpet was dotted with clusters of flowers, their bell-shaped heads a deep, dusky blue, darker than the sky. Even from this distance, they seemed to possess a special kind of stillness, a quiet dignity. The sight was deeply calming, and he found himself simply watching them, his thoughts slowing to a gentle, drifting pace. The valley seemed to have its own quality of light, a soft, filtered luminescence that made every color appear deep and rich. The greens were greener, the brown of the lodge's wood was warmer, and the blue of the distant flowers was a shade he felt he could fall into. He felt the gentle weight of this peace settle on him like a warm blanket, a tangible comfort that eased his mind and body. As he stood there, a soft exhalation escaped his lips, a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. This was the place from the whispered stories, the valley where a special kind of quiet lived. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the path that had led him here, for the simple welcome of the lodge, and for the profound sense of safety that was already wrapping itself around him. He knew he would sleep deeply tonight, cradled in the valley's profound hush. He moved to the bed and touched the soft, heavy quilt, its texture promising warmth and comfort. For now, he would simply rest, allowing the deep peace of the Valley of Indigo Echoes to seep into his bones, letting its gentle rhythm become his own. It was more than enough. Chapter 2. The Keeper of the Gloaming. Lorien awoke to a world washed in the soft gray light of early morning. The quiet of the valley was so complete that his own gentle breathing seemed to be the loudest sound. After dressing, he stepped out of the lodge onto a small porch, and it was here he found he was not alone. An elderly man sat in a simple wooden chair, a steaming mug held in his hands, his gaze resting peacefully on the valley before him. He moved with a slow, deliberate grace, and his presence felt as natural and unassuming as the ancient, moss-covered fence post beside him. The man turned his head as Lorien emerged, and a kind, warm smile crinkled the corners of his eyes. "Good morning," he said, his voice a low, soothing murmur that blended perfectly with the morning's quiet. "I am Rhys. I am the keeper here. I hoped you slept well." He gestured to a second mug of steaming herbal tea waiting on the small table between them, a simple and profound gesture of welcome. Lorien took the seat beside him, the warmth of the ceramic mug a comfort in his hands. The tea was fragrant and delicious, a blend of chamomile and mint with a hint of something sweet, like honey from a summer meadow. They sat in a comfortable silence for a time, simply sharing the view of the dew-dampened valley and the soft morning light. Rhys seemed to require no conversation, perfectly content in the shared stillness. His peaceful demeanor was infectious, and Lorien felt himself relax even more deeply into his chair, sipping his tea and letting the morning unfold at its own gentle pace. Eventually, Rhys spoke again, his gaze drifting to the clusters of deep blue flowers. "They are beautiful, are they not?" he murmured. "They are Auralis blooms. They are the heart of this valley." He explained in his soft, unhurried tones that the flowers were very special. They slept during the day, gathering the sunlight and the quiet, and they offered a gift in return each evening. He described the moment of twilight he called the deepening. It was a brief, magical time, he said, when the last light of the sun left the sky and the world paused. In that perfect stillness, in that shade of profoundest blue, the flowers would awaken and share their song. It was not a song for the ears alone, he explained, but a chorus to be felt, a gentle vibration of peace that rose from the earth itself. His words were simple, yet they painted a picture of such gentle wonder that Lorien was captivated. Lorien listened, completely absorbed. Rhys's way of speaking was like a slow, meandering stream, each word chosen with care and imbued with a deep, quiet affection for his home. He spoke of the valley as a living thing, a friend with whom he shared a deep and abiding understanding. He explained that learning to hear the chorus was a matter of patience, of learning to be as still and as quiet as the valley itself. The sun climbed higher, warming the porch and burning the last of the dew from the mossy ground. The conversation, if it could be called that, was gentle and sporadic, interspersed with long, comfortable stretches of quiet observation. Lorien learned that Rhys's family had been here for as long as anyone could remember, not as owners, but as fellow inhabitants, as caretakers of the valley's unique and gentle magic. As the morning wore on, Lorien felt a deep sense of peace settle over him, a contentment born of simple things, a warm mug of tea, a comfortable chair, the gentle presence of a kind soul, and the promise of a quiet wonder to come. Rhys's presence was a gift, a living example of the harmony that was possible when one lived in tune with the gentle rhythms of the world. Lorien felt ready to learn, to listen, and to wait for the chorus of the Deepening Blue. Chapter 3. Learning to Listen. The afternoon sun cast long, soft shadows across the valley as Rhys led Lorien along a winding path. The mossy ground was soft and springy underfoot, making their walk a silent, gliding journey. Rhys moved with an unhurried ease, and Lorien found himself naturally falling into the same slow, deliberate rhythm. The purpose of this walk, Rhys had explained in his gentle way, was not to arrive anywhere in particular, but to begin the process of truly listening. The chorus is a quiet gift, Rhys murmured, pausing to gently touch the velvety petal of an oralis bloom. To receive it, we must first offer our own quiet in return. He showed Lorien how to find a comfortable spot on a soft, grassy hummock, a place with a clear view of the western hills where the sun would set. He encouraged Lorien to simply sit, to feel the gentle coolness of the earth beneath him, and to let his senses open up to the world around him. At first, Lorien's mind was busy. He noted the details a cartographer would, the slope of the land, the patterns of the flower clusters, the slow drift of a single puffy cloud. But Rhys sat nearby in such profound, peaceful stillness that his calm gradually began to influence Lorien. He began to let go of the need to name and categorize things, and instead to simply experience them. He closed his eyes for a moment, focusing on the other senses. He felt the soft, cool breeze on his cheeks, carrying the sweet scent of the blooms. He felt the solid, comforting presence of the earth supporting him. Rhys spoke softly, guiding Lorien's awareness. "Notice the quality of the light," he whispered. "See how it begins to turn from gold to a soft rose. The air itself knows a change is coming." Lorien opened his eyes and saw that it was true. The brilliant light of the afternoon was softening, its edges blurring, and the colors of the valley seemed to be growing deeper and more saturated. The blue of the auralis blooms was becoming a shade more intense, more vibrant. They sat for a long time as the sun continued its slow descent. Reese taught him to feel the subtle drop in temperature on his skin, a sign that the day was releasing its warmth. He encouraged Lorien to listen beyond sound, to feel for the moment when the birds sang their final evening notes and a different kind of silence began to gather. It was a lesson in the most patient and gentle form of observation. As twilight began to truly settle, the world grew hushed. The breeze died down, and the leaves on the few small trees in the valley became perfectly still. "The valley is holding its breath," Reese said, his voice barely a whisper. And in that moment, Lorien felt it. It was an expectant hush, a gathering of energy, a profound sense of pause that seemed to encompass everything. His own breathing slowed, and a feeling of deep peace washed over him. He was not waiting with impatience, but with a quiet, open curiosity. He was becoming a part of the valley's rhythm, a participant in its nightly ritual. The process was deeply calming, a slow and gentle release of all the hurry and noise he had carried with him. He was learning that listening was not an act of straining to hear, but an act of becoming quiet enough to receive. The sky was now a beautiful shade of deep violet, and the first star had appeared, a tiny perfect speck of silver. Lorien sat in the gathering dark, feeling more present and more at peace than he had in a very long time. He was ready. He had offered his quiet, and he was open to the gift the valley was preparing to share. Chapter 4, the first chorus. The last sliver of the sun's orange fire sank below the smooth crest of the western hill. For a moment, its rosy afterglow painted the undersides of the clouds, and then that too faded, drawn away into the deepening sky. The world fell into a shade of perfect, profound indigo. It was the moment Reese had called the deepening. The air grew still and cool, and a silence so complete that it felt like a soft, heavy blanket descended upon the valley. Lorien sat on the grassy knoll, his heart quiet, his senses wide open. The valley held its breath. And then it began. It started not as a distinct sound, but as a feeling, a low, resonant vibration that seemed to rise from the very earth itself. Lorien felt it first through the soles of his feet, a gentle, pleasant thrumming that was deeply grounding. It was a feeling of something ancient and peaceful, stirring from a long slumber. He placed a hand on the soft, mossy ground and felt the vibration more clearly, a steady, rhythmic pulse. Slowly, gently, the feeling grew into a sound. It was a hum, a low and beautiful chord made of 1,000 harmonious notes. The auralis blooms, now a deep, luminous blue in the twilight, were singing. Their petals vibrated with a visible, gentle shimmer, releasing their collective voice into the still air. It was a chorus of pure resonant peace, a sound that seemed to fill every empty space within the valley and within Lorien himself. The sound swelled, not in volume, but in richness and depth. It was a warm, enveloping wave of harmony that washed over him. He closed his eyes, the better to feel it. The vibrations traveled up through his body, a gentle internal massage that seemed to loosen every muscle, to soothe every nerve. The sound was not outside of him. He was inside the sound, a part of its beautiful, resonant being. He felt the tension in his jaw release, his shoulders drop, and his breathing deepen into a slow, effortless rhythm. He felt an immense sense of wonder, a gentle awe at the simple, profound beauty of this nightly gift. There was no grand spectacle, no brilliant flash of magic, only this deep, honest, and profoundly calming song. It spoke of the earth, of the quiet cycles of day and night, of the simple contentment of being. It was a lullaby sung by the world itself, and it was singing directly to him. The chorus held its main chord for a long, beautiful moment, a sustained note of perfect harmony that seemed to stop time. Lorien felt his mind empty of all thought, leaving only the pure sensation of the sound and the feeling of deep, unwavering peace. It was a state of perfect, gentle bliss, a connection to the quiet heart of the world that he had never imagined possible. Then, as slowly and as gently as it began, the chorus started to fade. The deep hum softened, the individual notes seeming to melt back into the silence. The vibrations in the earth grew fainter, until finally only a faint, tingling echo remained on the air. The petals of the Auralis blooms grew still, their song finished for the night. The valley returned to its familiar, peaceful quiet, but it was a different quiet now. It was filled with the resonant memory of the chorus. Lorien sat for a long time in the cool, starry darkness, a gentle smile on his face. He had heard the song of the deepening blue, and its peace had settled deep within his soul. Chapter 5. An Echo in the Heart. Several weeks had passed, each one marked by the gentle rhythm of the valley. Lorien had fallen into a simple, peaceful routine: quiet mornings, slow walks in the afternoon sun, and the shared, sacred waiting for twilight. Each evening, he would find a comfortable spot and welcome the song of the Auralis blooms. The chorus was no longer a new and startling wonder, but a dear and familiar friend, a nightly reassurance of the world's deep, abiding peace. The restorative calm of the valley song had worked a gentle magic on him. He felt lighter, as if he had set down a heavy, invisible pack he hadn't even known he was carrying. The peace of the chorus had seeped into him, and he found that it did not leave when the flowers fell silent. It remained with him through the day, a quiet, steady hum in the background of his own being, a gentle echo in his heart. He discovered that he could recall the feeling of the chorus whenever he wished, by simply closing his eyes, taking a deep breath, and remembering the deep indigo of the twilight. He could summon the memory of that resonant hum. He could feel a phantom of that warming vibration in his chest, a gentle pulse that instantly soothed his mind and calmed his spirit. The valley had given him a gift he could carry with him always. This evening, he sat with Reese on the small porch of the lodge, 2 mugs of warm chamomile tea warm in their hands. The sky was awash in the soft violet hues that preceded the deepening. They didn't speak of the chorus that was to come. There was no need. They were simply sharing the moment, their comfortable silence a testament to the deep, easy friendship that had grown between them. Lorien looked at the gentle, peaceful face of the old keeper, illuminated by the fading light. He felt a wave of quiet gratitude for this man and for the simple, profound wisdom he had shared. Reese had not taught him a complex skill, but had simply shown him how to be still, how to be open, and how to listen with more than just his ears. It was the greatest lesson he had ever learned. As the world outside settled into its profound pre-chorus hush, Lorien felt a deep sense of contentment. He had come to this valley seeking a sound, and he had found so much more. He had found a connection to the gentle rhythms of the earth, a friendship that needed few words, and a quiet, resilient peace that now lived within him. The first low thrum of the chorus rose from the valley floor, and a soft smile touched Lorien's lips. He closed his eyes, not in anticipation, but in simple, peaceful belonging. He was no longer just a listener. He felt like a part of the song himself, another quiet note in the beautiful, harmonious whole. He knew that eventually he would continue his journeys, mapping other quiet places on the earth, but the Valley of Indigo Echoes would now be the compass rose on his own inner map, the point of perfect peace from which all other journeys would begin. He took a slow sip of his warm tea, feeling the gentle vibration of the chorus all around him and within him, a gift of pure woven peace that would never fade.